Hey everybody, how you doing? What's happening? Are you happy? No? Well, we're gonna fix that right now. We're gonna make you happy. I'm gonna make you happy, like by force. Like if you don't want to be happy, you're gonna be happy. You're gonna be happy right now. You know how? Because I'm gonna make you happy. You know how I'm gonna make you happy? By making it happen right now. Right now is when I'm gonna make you happy. I still have a cold. Is that upsetting me? No. You're gonna be happy. You know how? You know how you're gonna be happy? I'm gonna make you happy the way I make everybody else happy. I'm gonna make you happy the way I make me happy, and that is with drugs. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do drugs. Actually, I do drugs because caffeine is a drug and alcohol is a drug, and I dabble a little bit in alcohol and dabble a little bit in caffeine. I don't really have a relationship with caffeine like a lot of people do, but I drink it when I drink it, and when I drink it, I enjoy it. Coffee is one of those flavors that I get tired of it. Like I can't have a bunch of cups in one day because I'm like, oh man, it's like motor oil. It's like, what's so thick and like pungent, and it's like the same type of pungent flavor. Anyway, I'm not here to talk to you about coffee. I'm here to talk to you about being happy. And are you happy yet? Are you happy yet? Yes, you are happy yet. You are happy already, aren't you? I know you're happy. I'm going to listen back to this one day and I'm going to be like, what the fuck is wrong? What the fuck was wrong with me? Hey, maybe not. I don't know. Only time will tell. Only time will tell whether or not you're happier than when you started listening to this. But I bet you are. I bet you're happy. So I'll shut up about being happy because I know you're happy already now. And I'll tell you, my podcasting has slowed down, and I'm going to tell you why it has slowed down. First of all, you're listening to this, so I assume you care at least a little bit. My podcasting hasn't slowed down for any bad reason. As a matter of fact, for a very good reason. I've been working out, in the morning, like every day, basically. And I got a cold, and I realized that I made a big mistake. I was like, it's just a cold, right? I mean, I was, congested and coughing and whatnot. I decided to keep working out and running anyway. That was a big mistake. I'm going to tell you right now, if you have a cold, do not work out. It just made it worse. And I didn't feel it while I was working out. I felt it afterwards. Like maybe a couple of hours afterwards. I was like, holy shit, I just dropped. So I'll tell you. So that at night, I usually podcast at night, but at night, my brain is tired. My body's tired. I'm tired, because I've been going all day and I start off the day with that. And so I have to find a new time and like a new way to podcast. And so that's that, and a lot of stuff has been going on, man. Like, I've been shy. I've been afraid to tell you this because partially because I'm afraid that it will jinx it. And another partially I'm afraid that I will fail at doing it. But I can't fail at doing it because I'm determined. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm determined like that. Like I can't fail at doing this. Like you may not like what I'm doing, but I'm not going to fail at accomplishing it. Now, I'm writing a book. And right now, the working title of the book is called Living Between Screens. Now, this book, I got the idea for this book like almost 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, something like that, maybe a year and 6 months ago. And the book is, you know what, I'm not even going to tell you what the book is about, but it's nonfiction. And it has to do with technology, and it has to do with me and my upbringing, and it has to do with my history with technology. So what else? My mariachi band, my mariachi suits is here, and we've been rehearsing. I've been doing that. I've been learning to code, computing, Python. Excuse me. How have I learning to code? I've been learning how to code at 30-minute intervals per day, basically, but sometimes it goes over to 45 minutes, something like that, because it's very time-consuming. Like, you get lost in what you're doing. And I got to tell you, is it hard? Is coding hard? Coding is a new language. It's like you're trying to learn how to read music. It's like you're trying to learn how to speak Japanese. It has a very similar feeling to learning a new language, because it is a new language. And I'll tell you what, is the new language, it's a language of the future, and it's been the language of the present for some time. I don't know if I'll be able to teach this to my kids. I don't know how I would go about doing that, but I would like to. And I look at it this way. I look at it like I'm a immigrant who moved to a new country, and the national language is Python. And that's what I have to speak. That's what everybody's speaking, and I want to get a cup of coffee, and I have to speak Python in order to do that. I want the computer to give me a cup of coffee. I'm like, hey, computer, give me a cup of coffee, please. And the computer is like, bleep, bleep, deep, 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 deep. Fuck you. And I'm like, computer, what did I say wrong? How did I say this wrong? And the computer's like, gives me some other message, and then you get it right, and then you make something happen. So I can't tell you anything else about coding. I'm definitely no expert at that, but I started writing computer code when it was BASIC. That's the name of the language, BASIC. I was like 10, 11 years old, and I did it on a TRS-80, a Radio Shack computer called a TRS-80, the Coco color computer, and it was a piece of crap, frankly, but it was my computer, and I loved it. I mean, people may have thought it was a piece of crap, but it doesn't matter. We didn't have the money for doing all kinds of like hard drive stuff, like in the movie War Games at the time. But basically, if I turn my machine off, whatever I coded is gone. What do you think about that, baby? That's some commitment right there, huh? Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. So what else? I've been working out a lot. A lot of things going on. What else can I tell you that's been going on? It's just mariachi stuff and rehearsal and things like that. So, but the main thing that's been getting in the way of the podcast is my working out, because by the end of the day, I'm just like, man, I don't want to do shit. I don't want to do anything, And you're probably bored to death right now listening to me talk about this shit, right? So, I mean, I don't even know what to say to you. My relationship with my wife is improving. She's not fighting with me so much anymore. She doesn't realize this, but most of our problems are her fault. You know what I'm saying? And if you ask her, she might tell you the opposite of that. But the truth of the matter is that most of it is her fault. And Patricia, if you're listening to this, go into the other room or wherever I'm at and give me a kiss and give me a hug, because I'm right. I'm right. And you will look back one day and you will be like, it'll be like one of those situations where you're going to sleep and you look back on it and you think to yourself, and you get like a jolt of, like a shock, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Right? Does that happen to you? Like, it used to happen to me in high school. Like, I'd be somewhere in the hallway and a girl would be like, hi Goliath, how are you doing? And I would say something stupid. I would be like, hey, looking at my locker. And then I would think, and that night, I would think to myself, I would get this jolt of like regret. I'd be like, oh my God. And I would just want to sink into my bed, like in that movie, Nightmare on Elm Street, where the dude just sinks into his bed. You kiddies don't know anything about that movie, do you? Nightmare on Elm Street, that you millennials. I got to tell you something. Millennials, my wife is a millennial. We're 10 years apart. Just about 11 years apart, like 10 and a half years apart, maybe, almost, but not quite. She's a millennial. I think she's a millennial, and I'm almost 100% positive that she's a millennial. And I'll tell you, the thing I noticed about her and her brother and her sister and this millennial crew is that over here anyway, they're real like puritanical, man. Like you can't joke about anything, and well, you can joke about what the things that they think that you can joke about, but the thing is, like, everything's about being proper and recycling and whatnot. It's basically Germany. Basically, we're turning into Germany, and it's like Uslaus, Usnitok. It's like Granati. Like, you're going to cross the street and you reprimand the person for crossing where it's not a sidewalk. and you're like, it's not safe. And Achtung, you know? And so you throw a piece of litter on the floor and it's like Achtung. And you your dog poops in the park somewhere and you cover it with leaves and smash it. Like you cover it with a big pile of leaves. Sometimes if I don't have a bag and my dog poops in the park, there's a bunch of leaves in the park. I make a pile over the poop and I smash it. Right? Like I jump on top of it like a crazy person, like with both feet, right? And I'm like yelling like, rah, rah, rah. And one time this lady, she came up to me and she said, "Do you need a bag?" And I said, "No." I said, "I smashed it under the leaves." And she goes, "You shouldn't do that." Again, Germany, right? And she says, and I say, "Why not?" She goes, "It's not sanitary." And I'm like, okay. And then I just left. Because, I was jogging. I was jogging with my dog. And I'll tell you what, mi pobrecito perrito Anubis, he can't keep up with me anymore, man. That's how much distance I'm going over here. It's not even that far, but he's a dog. He's made to sprint short distances, and it's hot. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to make him suffer. So I walk him often now. Like I'll walk him and then I'll jog, or I'll jog him for a little bit and bring him home. But basically, we're turning into Germany. The millennials are Germans, and and this is how the Nazis are taking over. Like it's like from Argentina, they're populating the internet with all kinds of like bots and fucking algorithms, and this is why I'm learning Python to fight them. You see? And I don't understand how life can even be enjoyable. Even like in yoga circles, I know I have talked plenty of shit about yoga because a lot of the yoga around here is bullshit. And what am I going to tell you? What am I going to tell you? That's the truth. But even there, like in the spiritual circles, things, man, it's even worse. It's even more puritanical, like judgmental, but they don't see it that way. They don't see it that way. They see like if you're a meathead and you say like some sort of like sexist joke, like that could be taken as a sexist joke, they see it. They see that like as more offensive than being like all dark and conniving like fucking Kali with her 10,000 arms and her tongue sticking out, stepping on a man's head with a knife in one hand. Do you know about Kali like that? So I'll tell you, and I just don't understand it because look, in case you think that people can't see, we know that a lot of yoga girls are freaks, okay? And we know that a lot of the dudes in the yoga classes are there because they're socially awkward and they like to get up into those Thai yoga classes so they can touch people. You know what I'm saying? So they can get some, and I don't have anything, fine, it's fine, it's fine. I'm not talking shit about that, but it's like, if I could see through that, it's hard to pretend that I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these yoga chicks that are the ones that are freaks, which is a lot of them, they, you could be like looking at one of them and like you'd be at a coffee shop and like, let's say you're looking at one of them and she's wearing yoga pants and her butt is sticking out and you look at her butt because she's walking past you or she's standing there and she's like, oh, sexuality, like you're looking at me sexually or you're admiring my feminine body or I don't know what. I'm like, hey, what do you want me to do? I could completely see your butt. It's like you're wearing these yoga pants and the thing is going up the crack of your butt, kind of, and it looks like you're practically naked. I'm just looking really quick, like not like staring or anything. I'm just looking at like anybody, right? I'm like, hey, look, there is somebody's butt, very easily defined, right there. I gotta see how to get out of this one. My wife is listening to my podcast right now. That's right. She likes dudes with man buns. She likes what I call Appalachian Samurai. You know what Appalachian Samurai is? It's a dude when you got a beard. You live in Florida, and it's hot and it's humid, and you're sweating your ass off, and the dude has a beard like he's like Burt's Bees, and then he's got his hair up like he's in Game of Thrones onto the back of his head, like he's wielding a sword, and she likes that. But if I was a woman, I wouldn't like that. That shit would bother me. I would like short hair and like masculinity. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody like me. You know. Man, you know what? I appreciate you very much. Thank you very much for listening to me, because I'm just going on here. And I'm happy to be going on for you, for everybody, for the advertisers, for everyone. There's no advertisers in this show. There's no advertisers. So I'll tell you what, man. This book thing that I'm working on, I got to tell you, writing is... I'm a musician, and I've been a lifelong musician. And writing, to me, maybe because I don't understand it well enough, but I think that it's true that writing is more difficult to explain and talk about than music theory, like music. Because I noticed that other writers and authors try to talk about it and write about it, but there's so few writings that are beneficial to read. After all the stuff that's been written about writing, that's how elusive it is, because it's kind of one of those things where it is a different elephant to different people. Like, it depends on what you're writing about, how you're writing, who your audience is, right? Forget about that one, though. That's one of the least important things when you're creating. But that's more like towards the end, I suspect. Who your audience is, and what you're writing about, and what you want to say, and what kind of storytelling you do, and how do you construct your narrative. It's basically as individual as any spot in the universe. Does that make any sense? Like, it's as individual as people, as individuals. So writing is like religion. It's like, what is Christianity? Well, you ask this dude, you ask my friend Chepe, he'll tell you one thing. You ask my friend Chris, he'll tell you another thing. You ask my friend Keith, he'll tell you another thing, et cetera, et cetera. You ask Lawrence, he'll tell you another thing. And, you know, they might say like, oh, well, we're basically saying the same. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not. You know what I'm saying? But I'll tell you, one more thing is the religious aspect is that in spirituality, in spiritual circles, my wife likes to dabble into spiritual circles more often than I do, which is I do very little. And that is not because I don't know anything about it. It's because, to me, I've already been there, and I already found out that like 90% of the stuff is bullshit, and that 10% of stuff that is really good, I've kept it. I want to talk about what parts right now. I know that like every time I say that, I start talking about it, but for real this time, I'm not going to talk about it. But I want to talk about what parts. The thing is, I noticed there's a lot of external searching for things, and maybe that's part of the process. But the thing is, another thing that I notice about the millennials and the spirituality is that they have an aversion. I see it as an aversion, like as an old guy. Yeah? Could I be an old guy already? I don't think so. Fuck you. I'm not. So I see it as an aversion. They have an aversion to facing confrontation, even confrontation within themselves. And it's like this unbalanced female narrative, like femininity is being... People say that femininity is the future, the way of the future. And I think that it's the unbalanced part of this is contributing to that, the non-confrontation, the non-masculine side. For most of humanity, roles between men and women have been pretty clearly defined, and they've wound up that way for a reason. Now, what reason is that? I'm not going to pretend to know, but the fact is that if you look at the majority of humanity, which goes back a long way, that's how it is. So there's a lot of, especially with a millennial crew, but it's not exclusive to them. Okay, because this exists in every faction of people. But I noticed that very prominent in this crew, where that aversion exists. And the wanting to find answers outside. Maybe it's because of Google, like the Google culture. And you want to search on the outside. You don't want to think for yourself. Now, I'm not saying that millennials don't think for themselves, but they don't think for themselves. Why would you want to think for yourself if you can just Google it, Goliath? Well, the reason is because if I unplug your fucking computer and take the battery out of your phone, you're asked out. You don't even remember my phone number. You don't even know. You don't even remember where I live. You had a self-driving car. That shit broke down on you in the middle of San Francisco somewhere. People were like, "Hey, where's your house at?" And you're like, I don't even know. I don't even know how to. I've been looking down at my phone like all these years. And I don't even know how to get anywhere. I don't know where I'm at. You know, I'm missing the mark here. Like there was something that I was going to say about the spirituality thing, but I'm missing the mark here. But that's good enough. What I was just talking about. There's something there, like I'm dancing around it a little bit, and it's not coming out. What am I going to tell you? It's like I don't have to. It's like having to go to the bathroom. I don't have to go to the bathroom right now. No, I'm going to tell you, all my friends out there. I'm not going to name you because you millennial infected people are all sensitive like that and shit. And if I name one of you, you're going to be like, you didn't say my name. But I'll tell you, it's very nice that I'm still in touch with several people from high school. Yeah, and that's on the other side of the country for me. Like, not exaggerating, like on the other side of the country. I live just as far from the coast here, which is like 25 minutes, as I did over there. It's kind of weird. Maybe there's like some sort of like spiritual thing, Goliath, like where there's like ley lines, you know? And it's like you're following one of the ley lines, and it's like your energy is like, come over here, and it's me. It's like doing it for like the, you know. No mames. Esa es una palabra mexicana. Es una cosa que dicen los mexicanos. No mames. You should learn this word. No mames, güey. No mames. Pinche mamón, hijo de... No mames. You know? And another thing is, Mexicans invented another word. Mexicans a lot of things, but... Ching... No, what is the word? It's like... Inch? Right? Inch? That's how you say a certain word without cussing. Or you say, Inyasu? You say, Inyasu? I just lost like 80% of my audience right now. But you know what? I'm gonna educate you. I'm gonna bring you up. I'm gonna learn Python, and I'm gonna educate you on the computer world. And I'm gonna be like Mr. Robot. Not really. I don't have time for that kind of shit. Well, yeah, one more thing. I'm building an application. No, wait. What was I going to say about the spiritual thing, man? Come on, it's important. It's important about the internal thing and not wanting to face confrontation, even within oneself, and the millennial thing. Where does that come from? I don't think it matters, honestly, as much as, is it real? And if it is, how do you alter it? How do you change? How do you tack that ship off into a different course? I noticed this because it changed me. I started becoming a non-confrontational person. I used to be a confrontational person. Admittedly, I used to be a confrontational person to a degree of dysfunction, because that's how I dealt with things. Now I'm confrontational on cue. Like on call, confrontational on command, like my own command, you know, like I say, hey, it's time to be confrontational. Okay, let's do it. You know, we're going to be confrontational with this idea, or with this way that I'm being, or with this situation where this person is being unjust to me. I'm not afraid of those things anymore. Like I have been. There's always fear in confronting somebody and uncomfortableness. But what I mean is that I have enough courage. I believe in what I believe in enough to cause that confrontation. If I'm confronting somebody about something, you can bet that I have a solid idea of what I'm talking about concerning that. Or I have a solid idea of what I want and what I don't want, if it's one of those kinds of things. Why am I talking about that? My application. Because my application is all about confrontation. My application that I'm building for the Python code, it confronts you. It tells you, it's like, it comes on your phone, and you go on your Facebook, and it goes, hey, don't do that. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you going on there? Why are you going over there? No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't do that. But now I'll tell you what about this application. This is more of a hobby. Okay, this is not priority because it's a big deal, man. You know, but it's a long-term enrichment goal for me, because that means that I will learn how to code, and it's the next level up from, I know some HTML. I know I can read HTML. I can see how it's working, but that's about it. Mariachi, working on some CDs, working on some music, rehearsal, writing a book, taking care of my kids, being a husband, making the money, making my kids food, washing dishes, running, exercising, building an application, Python. How am I getting all this done? Right? I probably left a couple things out. Well, I have this list on my desktop, and I may have talked about this before, but on this list, it's just a document, like a Word document. And in bold, I have sections. Today, the next section is music. Next section, domestic. Next section, mariachi. I even have a section for movies and shows that I want to watch. And I have miscellaneous other projects. That's what it's called, other projects. And basically, I just write whatever idea I get, like whatever thing that I want to do, I put it in one of these, right? And I look at this thing as often as you look at your phone, which is pretty often. I look at this thing and I choose one, right? There's always one in there. It's like a list of 100 things. There's always one in there of something I want to do. And that's my only rule. There has to be something from this list that I'm going to do. And I tell you, what is it going to accomplish? Well, we'll see, right? We'll see. When you see me balling, rolling down the street with a Rolls Royce, right? With my muscles and my kids. Let's hope it all works out, you know? Let's hope it all works out. So this list, I can't tell you that it's a life changer. There's no such thing. There is no, like, this thing changed my life, man. Yes, it may contribute to it, but it's like 20 things that are changing your life at any given moment. It's like 10, whatever it is. Don't put it all on one thing. These things are tools, right? You have a toolbox, and you have a wrench, and you have a screwdriver. You can't be like, this screwdriver changed my life, because tomorrow you could have to work on something that needs a wrench. For you ladies out there, like today, you might want to wear mascara, but you look in your makeup box and you take out the lips. I'm just kidding. Hey, I'm just kidding. You see, if you're a yoga person, you just got pissed off and you're like, your heart rate like sped up. You know what I'm saying? You see, check yourself. You gotta check yourself. If you want to know more about my list, I'll tell you more about it. But I'm tired of talking right now. I love you. And I'm signing off for now. Ciao, ciao.